Hey everyone, my name is Josh and welcome back to your fourth stimulus check and news update. We have a lot to get into for today's update, but before doing so, for a limited period of time, if you would like to receive 2 free stocks from Webull, valued up to $2,300, make sure to claim them by clicking my link, which you'll find in the description box below. Okay, so jumping right into the update for today, the United States Supreme Court struck down President Biden's eviction moratorium, which was carried out by the CDC. This moratorium on evictions was supposed to expire on October 2nd, but the Supreme Court is calling it quits early. In their ruling, they said that eviction moratoriums can only be extended via action from Congress, and then in a statement from the White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki, she said, as a result of this ruling, families will face the painful impact of evictions, and communities across the country will face greater risk of exposure to COVID-19 transmission. President Biden is once again calling on all entities that can prevent evictions, from cities and states to local courts, landlords, and cabinet agencies, to urgently act to prevent evictions. So with that said, guys, do you personally believe that we need another extension of the eviction moratorium? Leave your thoughts down in the comments section below. Also, for those of you guys who are personally or know someone who is seeking rental assistance, in the description box below, I will make sure to leave a link where you can find some different programs depending on where you live. This will take you to the Treasury website, and from there, if you scroll just a little bit down the page, you'll see the different states and programs currently offered per state. In some other news, first-time jobless claims took just a little bit of a jump from last week, totaling 353,000. Continuing unemployment claims also didn't see much change, only dropping by 3,000 and continues to sit right around the 2.9 million mark. Also, with the national unemployment rate currently sitting at 5.4%, the Federal Reserve Bank of Kansas City's president notes that we may not return to the unemployment lows that we had under former President Donald Trump. Before the pandemic took place and unemployment skyrocketed to 14.8% back in April, we had an unemployment rate of just 3.5%. So obviously we still have a very long way to go before we get back down to those pre-pandemic levels, but at the very least, we are headed in the right direction. In some other news, in what may be Joe Biden's most difficult week as president yet, and much more difficult for family members of our soldiers, 12 Marines and a Navy corpsman died after suicide bombings at the Kabul airport. Since February of 2020, not a single American soldier had died while in Afghanistan, marking this the first in 1.5 years, and definitely a hard one to swallow. I can't even imagine the pain and suffering that must be going through their loved ones. As with anyone who has family in the military, you always realize that something like this can happen, but you're also never fully prepared for the news. So at this time, I do just want to thank each and every one of you who have put your life on the line to fight for our country and the freedoms that we have. I really can't drill those thoughts in enough, and I really believe that the military doesn't get the respect that they deserve. And you really just hate to see any of this, and it's currently being reported that members of ISIS-K were the ones who carried out the attack.
To those who carried out this attack, as well as anyone who wishes America harm, know this: we will not forgive. We will not forget. We will hunt you down and make you pay. I will defend our interests and our people with every measure at my command. Over the past few weeks, I know many of you are probably tired of hearing me say it. We've been made aware by our intelligence community that the ISIS-K, an arch enemy of the Taliban, people who were freed when both those prisons were opened, has been planning a complex set of attacks on the United States personnel and others. This is why, from the outset, I've repeatedly said this mission was extraordinarily dangerous, and why I've been so determined to limit the duration of this mission.
At least 20 House Republicans, as well as Republican Senator Josh Hawley, called on the president to be impeached following the attack and deaths of our U.S. soldiers. In a statement released by Senator Hawley, he said, "Our nation is forever indebted to the brave Marines who made the ultimate sacrifice today, and we remember as well as the innocent Afghanis who needlessly perished." Joe Biden has now overseen the deadliest day for U.S. troops in Afghanistan in over a decade, and the crisis grows worse by the hour. We must reject the falsehood peddled by a feckless president that this was the only option for withdrawal. This is the product of Joe Biden's catastrophic failure of leadership. It is now painfully clear he has neither the will nor the capacity to lead. He must resign. Still though, President Biden doubled down on the withdrawal from Afghanistan at the end of this month, leaving many to wonder what exactly will happen to the Americans still stranded in the country. And once again, today, for anyone who has served our country or anyone currently serving our military, I really can't thank you enough for your courage and everything that you're fighting for. And finally, of course, we have two different bigger bills being debated on in Congress. The first being the bipartisan infrastructure bill. That one has already been passed through the Senate and will cost around $1 trillion. Then the second one being the reconciliation bill, where the budget blueprint has already been passed, but still has a long way to go, with many barriers, of course, as well. Progressive Democrats in the House say that even though the bipartisan infrastructure bill has already passed through the Senate, they believe that it's important to hold off on passing it through the House until they're able to also pass the much bigger $3.5 trillion reconciliation bill. Here is Representative Pramila Jayapal explaining why, in her mind, why they need to wait.
Well, this is the thing that lays the groundwork for the ultimate bill that will allow us, for the first time in history, to provide paid leave, universal child care, additions to housing that are so necessary, making sure we invest in Medicare expansion, and of course, immigration and climate justice. And this is the bill that allows us to do that. So the initial budget resolution is the thing that allows us to get to work. And we had a unanimous vote in the House, the Democratic caucus unified around this. And now we get to work on actually drafting the legislation to deliver for the people. This is what we promised. This is what we're going to deliver.
Now, one of the things as chair of the CBC, one of the issues here, of course, has been this Senate bipartisan infrastructure bill. This is a $1 trillion bill. I know you have some concerns about the legislation, and let's talk about this because this is a big issue. This has been a big issue among Democrats. Why, your CBC has said you will not vote for this infrastructure bill before the reconciliation package is assembled. So, and this was a huge issue for the early part of this week among Democrats. This is something that the Speaker Pelosi and the Democrats had to they wrestled with among themselves. Why is it so important to vote first on on reconciliation and then on infrastructure, in your view?
Well, John, as you know, President Biden outlined a Build Back Better agenda back in February, and that Build Back Better agenda had all the things I just mentioned that are part of the Build Back Better reconciliation bill, as well as a smaller piece that is around infrastructure, roads, bridges, those kinds of things. And for us as progressives, we have always believed that we have to deliver the whole agenda to the president. And one can't come before the other in terms of the urgency of what we need to deliver. And so in order to make sure that this bigger bill, which has all the things I mentioned, actually is able to be passed and that people keep the urgency and the momentum together, we said we want to make sure we do that first, and then we will happily vote for the infrastructure bill, which is just a much smaller piece of legislation. It's significant, it's important. We look forward to working on it and getting it through and voting for it. But the reality is the totality of the Biden agenda, the Democratic agenda that we ran on and that we now have to deliver on, is really contained within the reconciliation bill. So let's pass that first, and then we'll make sure that we send both bills to the president's desk to sign.
So Jayapal and other progressive Democrats are going to continue stalling on the bipartisan bill, of course, until the reconciliation one catches up. In the meantime, we'll be seeing the moderate wing of the Democrat Party continue to push for an early vote on the bipartisan bill, while at the same time trying to take out some of the spending on the $3.5 trillion bill. We should see a lot of developments take place on both bills throughout the month of September, so we definitely have an eventful month ahead. But on that note, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this video. But before I go, once again, if you would like to receive a couple of free stocks from Webull, valued up to $2,300, make sure to claim them by clicking my link in the description box below. Once you open an account with Webull, you'll receive the first free stock. Then, by making a qualifying deposit of just $5, at that point, you'll receive the second free stock. This one will be valued up to $2,000. And one last thing, if you did enjoy the content in today's video and you would like to see more videos like it, I would greatly appreciate if you would give it a big thumbs up for the YouTube algorithm, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. And until next time, I'll see you guys, and I hope you have a great day today.